of the Hour with Dr. Iyad.
So can we start now or wait until you
Yes,
allow
please.
everybody? Okay. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, friends and colleagues. It's really a great pleasure to be with you today to introduce the Sustainable Lifestyle Roadmap. This is a practical document that addresses one of the most foundational but often neglected elements of sustainability, which is how do we live our daily lives. While we often speak about climate crisis in terms of emissions and technology or finance, this is a crisis of values, of consumption patterns, and of disconnection from nature, from one another, and from our deeper sense of purpose. If we are to transition to a more sustainable and just world, we must go beyond technical solutions. We must examine our lifestyles and the spiritual, cultural, and economic systems that shape them. This is where faith actors, religious leaders, communities of belief, and institutions of spiritual practice have a vital and irreplaceable role to play. Let us begin with a simple truth. Everybody says that more than 80% of the world's population identifies with a religion or spiritual tradition. Faith communities have deep roots in their local contexts and are often more trusted than any other institution in society. Faith actors not only speak to the mind, they touch the heart. They guide how people eat, dress, travel, share, care for others, and engage with the natural world. And within every major religious tradition, we find teachings that strongly align with the principles of sustainability, moderation, compassion, sufficiency, gratitude, humility, care for creation, and justice. These are not new ideas. They have been guiding human behavior for millennia. But in the face of global culture that promotes excess, extraction, and endless consumption, these teachings are more relevant than ever. We see this alignment clearly in religious rituals and values. For example, prayers, which fosters mindfulness and inner peace; pilgrimage, which builds solidarity and reminds us of our transient presence on earth; charity, which directs our wealth towards equity and social justice; modesty in dress and consumption, which reduces waste and focuses us on what really matters; fasting, which trains discipline and awakens empathy for the vulnerable; and the sacredness of water, land, air, and biodiversity, present across indigenous and other traditions alike. In a chapter that I have written for an upcoming volume published by the University of Connecticut, I try to explore how these religious values and practices naturally contribute to sustainable lifestyles, and how, when intentionally linked to sustainability goals, they can become powerful tools for change. To support this, we have partnered with leading organizations to develop resources that equip faith actors with the knowledge and tools they need to translate spiritual values into sustainable action. Together with King Abdullah bin Abdulaziz Center for Dialogue, KAICID, and the Berkeley Center Global Teaching Exchange, we developed two faith and sustainable lifestyle courses. These courses help faith actors to reflect theologically on sustainability, to understand global environmental challenges, to inspire behavior change within communities, and to build interfaith collaboration around sustainable living. The reception has been extraordinary, from youth groups, seminaries, and religious networks who see this as a new way to live out their values in service of the planet. We believe that training and empowering faith leaders is a key pathway to transforming values, reshaping norms, and promoting lifestyle choices that align with the SDGs and, in particular, Goal 12, responsible consumption and production. So the United Nations system has long recognized that achieving sustainable development requires not only public and private partnerships, but also spiritual partnerships. Through the Faith for Earth initiative and coalition at UNEP, we are working to build bridges between science, policy, and spiritual wisdom, and provide a platform for faith actors to influence environmental policy while developing practical tools and training programs for faith-based environmental engagement, and to promote inclusive justice and moral clarity in our collective environmental response. We also act as a connector, bringing together governments, indigenous communities, religious networks, youth movements, women movements, and civil society to co-create solutions that are deeply rooted widely and support spiritual engagement. Therefore, we bring to this agenda credibility, global convening power, and commitment to equity and dignity for all people and all living beings. Through documents like the Sustainable Lifestyle Roadmap, we hope to encourage a shift from siloed technical responses to holistic, values-driven transformation. Let me now turn more directly to the publication itself and where we are launching today. So the roadmap, the Sustainable Lifestyles Roadmap, is a result of deep consultation and interdisciplinary thinking. It is not a prescriptive manual, but rather a strategic guide to help governments, organizations, educators, and communities foster more sustainable ways of living. Some 5 key elements include in the roadmap that sees the lifestyle not as an isolated personal choices, but as embedded within systems, economic, culture, spiritual, and social. But by addressing these conditions that shape the behavior, we can create environments where sustainable choices become not only possible, but easier, more attractive, and more rewarding. The publication, the second point, clearly recognizes that sustainable lifestyles are shaped by what we believe is meaningful. That means addressing the narratives that dominate our societies. The idea that more is better, that success is measured by material wealth, and that nature is a resource rather than as a gift. Faith communities have long told a different story, one that is rooted in sufficiency, stewardship, and care. The third point that the roadmap emphasizes that lifestyles change must not place the burden on the poor or marginalized. In fact, many of the most sustainable lifestyles already exist in low-impact communities. The challenge is to elevate these models and ensure that wealthier segments of society take the lead in reducing overconsumption. The fourth point that the roadmap shows that the document outlines 7 key areas of action, from education, public policy, local innovation, and interfaith partnerships. Among all of these, faith-based initiatives are specifically noted for their role in shaping community norms, inspiring behavioral change, and modeling low-impact living. And finally, the 5th point that I wanted to make here is perhaps most beautifully, the roadmap invites us to imagine a new story of what it means to live well, not one based on consumption or accumulation, but on connections, not on speed, but on depth, and not on domination, but on harmony. This story is already being lived by many religious communities around the world. The roadmap simply brings it into dialogue with public policy and sustainable development frameworks. So let me close with a reflection that brings us back to where we started. Too often, we separate spirituality from systems change. We speak of faith as a private matter and policy as a technical domain. But the truth is, transformation begins within. And when it is grounded in purpose and belief, it becomes enduring, holistic, and just. This is the power of faith in the sustainability movement. This is the opportunity before us to transform the world not only through new technologies, but through ancient wisdom. Not only through innovation, but through inspiration. And not only through policies, but through people whose lives are shaped by values of compassion, restraints, and reverence. So the Sustainability Lifestyle Roadmap is a valuable guide for those ready to walk this path. Let us use it together with humility and courage. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Back to
very
you,
much,
Asma.
Dr. Yad. Thank you. Um, I would like to firstly thank Dr. Yad for his leadership in guiding the team towards the development of this sustainable lifestyles roadmap. I'd also like to thank past and present members of the Faith for Earth Coalition for their excellent contributions to this publication. Ellen Cormack, Ting Chen, and Jefei Peng, thank you very much for all the work that's gone into it. Um, at this juncture, I would like to spotlight and center the role of behavioral science. Now, behavioral science can play a powerful role in supporting environmental policy and promoting pro-environmental behavior. In the guidance note on behavioral science, the UN Secretary General highlights the importance of integrating behavioral science into policy and practice to drive behavioral change. Now, he says behavioral science enables us to diagnose barriers preventing people from adopting a certain behavior, understand enablers that help people achieve their aims, and design and measure the impact of interventions on the basis of these assessments. And this is the premise of ethical choice and transparency, all premised on commitments to human dignity, transparency, and respect for ethical requirements. Now, behavioral science can bridge the gap between awareness and action, and that's where we exist, the Faith Network. This is what we've advocated for as the Faith for Earth Coalition, spotlighting the role of values, culture, and spirituality, and religious actors and faith actors as custodians of these values and principles. Faith actors have the formula, and we'd like to think that this roadmap articulates that formula. And we look at how interventions are designed, considering social influences, and we have a great example that will be shared with you later on. This roadmap also looks at how we communicate policies to enhance their acceptance in language that's familiar with you, to you, how ideas and conversations can turn into long-term thinking, not just activity-based, but programmatic, living within communities or within institutions. And last but not least, looking at how both people and the planet can benefit through inclusive and equitable actions. And now let's have a closer look at what this looks like, bringing examples from the network to you. Over to you, Jaffe. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Esmera, for highlighting the importance of behavior science and how values and the spirituality can support environmental action. And then now we're moving to the feature segment of our session, where we'll hear concrete examples of faith-based environmental action from around the world. And I'll guide us through the transitions. So let's begin with our first feature. Please welcome Bishop Emeritus Atle Sommerfeld from Diocese of Borg, Norway, to share about the Hope Cathedral. Please welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the invitation to share one example of how to create a space for people who is looking for possibilities for changing behavior and changing the destructive developments we are faced in our global community. The Hope Cathedral was a vision by an artist, Solveig Egeland, who was very much concerned about the plastic pollution in the ocean, being based in a coastal community, in a city and community in Norway. The Diocese of Borg in the Church of Norway took the challenge and facilitated the process of erecting a cathedral structure on a float. And the challenge was, how do we make it visible that it is possible to transfer destruction to creation, evil to good, despair to hope? And the formula was that the roof of the cathedral, it's formed like this, was constructed with tiles or processed plastic from pollution found in the sea, especially plastic fisher cages, which were found around the shores all over. Around 1,000 cages was found, 4,000 tiles built, used, and let me just be sure about the number here, so I have not 50 different colors was processed by these by the plastic cages transformed into tiles. So the roof of the cathedral is linking up to the Abrahamic sign of God never leaving the creation, namely the Noah rainbow, which has all the colors in one circle or half circle, but we know that it's a full circle, symboling and showing the God's promise to earth that God will not accept that humanity destroys itself and the creation. God will never leave us alone in our struggle against destruction. So by transforming the evil, namely plastic in the ocean, to tiles for creating beauty and art, and a rainbow roof with 50 colors, it stands as a big symbol of the possibilities for transforming lifestyles. Now, it's a little more than that, because the space which is created by this is an interfaith space, and the cathedral is now owned by different Christian denomination, Muslim community, and Buddhist community, and it has been interreligious event in the space, in the room, also with Hindu and other religious Jewish groups, um, uh, practicing different ways of spiritual actions. You know, in the Norwegian society, the need for space, which gives possibilities for reflection, is extremely important. And we have many spaces for linked up to each and every denomination. And this is one of the very few examples of a space, a room created for all religions, all faiths. The process of building the cathedral was in itself also a way of finding sustainable lifestyles. Together, we think around 11,000 hours of voluntary work has been put into building this cathedral, and also activities linked up around the cathedral in different ways. For example, a hotel for insects was built and sold as an income for the cathedral, made by school classes and also people who are struggling to get into the labor market. So a lot of activities around the cathedral was also an example of social sustainability. So it created a group of people who found meaningful work for their own life, but also participating in transforming destruction to creation, bad, evil to good. The challenge is, as we see it today, is that how do you financially sustain such a structure, since it's owned by many. And the good news is that we are struggling with that, honestly speaking. But the good thing is that it is used. So we have had 30 events the last 2-3 months. It's in Norway, winter is not the time for an unheated room. So we are talking about the summer months, basically, from May, June, July, August, September. And with 30 events, it means that it is used over 3 months. It means that it is used several times every week. And it is now also going to be transported to our neighbor country, Sweden, in Göteborg this summer from July. So it will be 5 or 6 events along the coast where the Church of Sweden is taking responsibility for creating arenas and using the cathedral as a space for reflection. So I wouldn't say it's an easy project. It has been many factors and many components, but it is now well rooted in the community in Fredrikstad and in the national interfaith environment in Norway. And we are quite, in all humility, proud that we have been able to make this very visible space for spiritual reflection, for behavioral change. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bishop Emeritus, for that inspiring insight into the Hope Cathedral and its role in ecological hope. Now let's move on to our second feature. Please welcome Dr. Fakhruddin M. Mangjaya to share about the Ecopacentrum program. Over to you, Dr. Mangjaya. Thank you. Sorry, I think you can unmute yourself.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry for making you waiting. My name is Fakhruddin Mangunjaya. I am a lecturer at Faculty of Biology at National University, Universitas Nasional in Jakarta, Indonesia. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon for everyone who look at this launch. Interestingly, Ecopesantren is a unique Islamic boarding school in Indonesia that grow within the communities, and they are based on Islamic teaching. And we have in Indonesia about 39,000 schools with 4.5 million students. With the program, Ecopesantren program, if you allow me to share the screen. Is a program that going to identify or to recognize the work of the pesantren or the Islamic boarding school that have been there to act for their ability to share their vision, their action for climate change related to 10 programs. The 10 programs independently was activated by the pesantren itself with Ecopesantren within Ecopesantren program. Once regarding the environmental based curriculum program, if they have. Secondly, if they have environmental jurisprudence implementations, Islamic jurisprudence implementation for the life at the campus of the pesantren. If they have human resource training, existing Islamic boarding school land that they may contribute to manage for sustainable lifestyle, the water resource, the healthy living, waste and rubbish and energy resources and transportation and mobility. And through this kind of internet thing, we also have a platform to share with them what we call the massive open online course, because in Indonesia, the pesantren are scattered in many islands. This country is as big as United States of America, and all these pesantren or all the Islamic boarding school, they are within the countries that we are included of this only 50 pesantren, which engage to include 76,000 beneficiary students, to include other activities, mostly in Java and Sumatra. 10 in Sumatra, 40 in Java, because the capital of the city and most of the works are burdened to what we have. The program is mostly in Java because of the easy to work together with them. So all the activities recorded and in this website. Together we have a launch of the program. We have the training, education, the tracking program. What we call the tracking program is to ask the pesantren for fulfilling some form of the existence of their works for the environment for that 10 program. Together with that, they will submit through tracking system that we call tracking of Ecopesantren, something like this. We use the internet things to do it with the 10 program, and the track all the pesantren can include it because of their action at the field. Some of that we also facilitate them with what we call the massive open online course to management learning system, and which they can have the basic understanding on Islamic teaching and the environment, and also the several action that we facilitate them with the action through education and training. So the education and training, we facilitate them for many as far that we are able to burden the cost. So the easy thing is to do the online course, such as open online course, such as MOOC like this. So this is the tools that the pesantren leader that committed to register with us can learning through distance, through the internet, through YouTube, through tutorial program that we provide. We also through this website we provide some material that available being downloaded. For example, these books, last generations, regarding the activism on the climate change in the Muslim world, that also translated in Arabic and also in English, was launched several times, and in the country as well, launched abroad by our networks to make the escalation of understanding regarding climate change and the challenge. All the module available here, we provided it online so they can register and download easily. It is free, and all the guideline as well, the guideline how to become to fulfilling the track of the tutorial is provided here. And all the record of the activities also available, being recorded at this, for example. So it can be a database or learning site or the Eco-Pesantren program to do their works for their experience and participation on an environmental as well the climate change and every aspect of the sustainability for the environmental action at their school. So by that we hope that this program not only stop here, that we can also escalate this to another site that we plan in the future, maybe by including Islamic finance channeling such as Wakaf. We have the initiative with the Wakaf Forest and channeling Islamic finance to participate through channeling with the Eco-Pesantren program by planting trees or managing land and sustainable lifestyle. By channeling with that, also we are trying to engage with the Green Hajj program with offsetting the carbon, etc., etc. Thank you very much for your attention and your ability to help me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mangunjaya, for that wonderful overview of how the Eco-Pesantren initiative blends Islamic teaching with environmental education. And now we will hear from Ashley Kitisia, who will introduce the Laudato Si's Animators program. Ashley, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it is truly an honor to be here today to witness and be part of the launch of this roadmap. As Laudato Si movement, this is some of the work that we are very committed towards. And what we do is to build and empower more leaders to take more action for climate justice. And I would like to share my screen to be able to take you through a bit more about what Laudato Si movement does, particularly when it comes to the online program called the Laudato Si Animators Training Program. And this is a flagship initiative of the Laudato Si movement. It has been running for 10 years now with a lot of certified leaders, over 20,000 community leaders from all over the world. And the reason why this letter, Laudato Si, was written was to inspire more action by the late Pope Francis. And the Laudato Si movement came up about to be able to have ecological leaders who can be able to take action and bring this letter to life. And it is a unique letter that was written not only to Catholics, but to all people, all mankind. And it is also based on science. It is based also on theological foundations, and urges us to really reconsider our lifestyle to be able to reduce the impacts that we have on the environment, but also to be able to address the growing inequalities that is increasing in our world, including the marginalization of people who are already poor and historically also unable to advance because of various forms of injustices. And what we do also is to take environmental action by putting all these trained leaders into local and national chapters who are able to take action in various languages, various contexts, and are able also to move together and live together to mobilize communities on Laudato Si, as well as advocate for climate justice. The Laudato Si Animators program is also available in multiple languages. Currently, it is available in English, French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese. What makes this program unique is that it balances both global reach and also the local relevance. For example, in our English-speaking cohort, we have members from Africa, Asia, North America, as well as Europe, and they are supported by the regional teams of the Animators program, as well as a special group of mentors known as the Animators of Animators. And through this program, participants are able to really explore locally what is happening in their own countries. For example, the droughts, the floods that are taking place, the wildfires, and how that interconnects with their faith traditions and their indigenous knowledge. And also, this helps them to design actions that are not only practical, but also are theologically and culturally meaningful. This is what exactly the roadmap, in our view, also emphasizes: the deep understanding of the context and also the behavioral drivers before designing interventions. Our program really aligns beautifully with the principles in the roadmap. It brings up the understanding of local contexts to be able to know what is the barriers in our different interventions. Is it lack of knowledge? Is it fear? Is it economic pressure? Or is it misunderstanding? And also, we explore the enablers. We bring in tools such as spiritual practices, community, as well as cultural rituals that are able to promote the care for creation. And this intentional process creates a context that is faith, but also rooted in action. And in Kenya, for example, animators have started engaging in activities of harvesting water, irrigation, sustainable farming, agroecology, as an example in their parishes. In Philippines also, there is ecological liturgies as well as advocacy for fossil fuel phase out. And in Nigeria, there has been a promotion for the fossil fuel divestment. So these are not just generic actions, but they're actual actions that are grounded on the context that the animators are facing. And they take action to respond to real needs that is informed by behavioral insight, but also their own wisdom. And in 2025, we are looking to have various innovations to enhance this leadership journey. We are embedding more empathy into the program, making sure that participants can feel seen, heard, and valued from the start. We're also strengthening onboarding and making sure that they are mentored and they are engaging with their mentors before even the course begins. And they are also invited to take a part in regional seed projects. These are small but powerful actions that are tied towards regional priorities, such as tree planting, engaging in discussions on the energy transition, as well as biodiversity conversations. And we're always looking out and reaching out to new partners, including international congregations, local organizations, and ensuring that where we have inactivity, we are also able to connect with more engagement and more partners who are taking action so that the community feels that it is diverse as well as it is very well supported. And finally, there is membership benefits from concluding the animators training. Therefore, after you take the training and you submit the seed project, we present the animators with a certificate. They also have digital badges and they get to engage and communicate and work with a very diverse online community. And this is the way we are able to also sustain the ongoing mission and the ongoing engagement just beyond the training and ensuring that information doesn't end after graduation. This is also key. We weave in principles of the Sustainable Development Goals in our training, as well as principles to be able to make sure that there is a integration with the ongoing climate discussions, climate discourse, various laws, to be able to make sure that the animators are taking action that is also in line with international and multilateral priorities. And as the roadmap urges, we must build programs and values that are driven with cultural sensitivity. And this Laudato Si Animators Training Program is a living example of that. It really forms leaders who think globally and act locally, as well as reflect spiritually. And we hope that this process can be able to help contribute towards making sure that this drives real change by ensuring that there is enough analysis, that there is also engagement in a peer-to-peer level to bring together also an identity and motivation that is focused and based on faith values, making also public commitments when it comes to engagement. What intentions does the person taking the training have to do, and what support would they need? To ensure also that we make sure that there is timely support for the animators as they take action, as well as engaging them in the long term to make sure that their journey is really sustained and that they continue to be great leaders in their region. And so the animators program really has a deep call for contextual transformation. And we thank also the Faith for Earth team and all the partners for always bringing together this replication and invitation to replicate this across different communities. And the second part is to also have a spiritual grounded leadership. The faith aspect and the faith component remains one of the strengths that we have, and we can continue to leverage that to ensure that also the solutions and the global impact that we have are still rooted in faith and rooted in principles of faith teachings. And we also welcome anyone to join us in taking this journey. The program is available online. It takes 1 month, and we are just working on concluding the training this year. And also, just as a note, thank you so much for the opportunity to share, and we will continue to work together with courage and justice.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashley, for sharing how the Laudato Si's animators are helping build ecological awareness and action across communities. Now we turn to our fourth feature. Please welcome Halak Shah from Shrimad Rajchandra Dharampur Mission to present the T-shirt to tote on cycling drive. Halak, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I'm already too inspired. Before I start, I'll just like to thank. I think this is the start of something too great and too new. Values, culture, and spirituality for sustainable lifestyle. It's something we all practice in our day-to-day lives, but we've not been very vocal about, which thanks to the Faith for Earth team and UNEP, we're getting the platform to share and discuss about. So I'd like to thank Hope Cathedral and even my fellow mate from Ecopus Train program, as well as Ashley for so beautifully walking us through the program. And I'm very eager to hear from Haj and Humra team too. I'm Halak Shah. I belong from this wonderful place that you all can see in the background, Srimad Rajchandra Mission Dharampur. It's a global organization. And this organization is a Jain-based organization. And we're here to show you one of our key campaigns and projects that we've run in collaboration with UNEP and FEEL program, which is Faith for Earth Empathy Leaders program. And over to the presentation slides. So in Jainism, we have three specific tenets. Before that, I'll just start. Our SRLC, Srimad Rajchandra Love and Care, is a 10-fold program. We have 10 cares under which, under the environmental care wing, this project sits under. So under this, we have three tenets of Jainism, very key tenets. All of us have heard about it. It's Ahimsa, Anekantavad, and Aparigraha. So Ahimsa, as you know, is non-violence. Anekantavad is accepting all faiths and all religions and all viewpoints of the world and making sure there's only one single truth. And the last but not the least is Aparigraha, which is what I'm here to talk about, which is non-possessiveness. So I really like to deep dive on how we just looked at this tenet and started a movement, an entire global movement around this called T-shirt to tote program. So there are four different projects that we were looking at. We were looking at how to solve textile waste. So one of them was eco pouches, where we looked at alternate industry waste. Then there is one section called post-consumer waste. So once a t-shirt or any clothing has already been worn, what to do with that kind of waste? That's where this program sits. There were two other programs that we had. One of them was the EcoBricks one, where we saw pre-consumer waste. So while making and manufacturing of any kind of clothing, the scraps that are there, we use those into making of PET bottles, which we used as furniture in primary schools. And then the fourth one, we talked about completely changing the medium. So rather than going for synthetic, we go for plant-based. So that ways we went for the Benofi program, which is banana leather instead of using any textile waste. Now let me deep dive into the T-shirt to tote program. Yeah. So 750 plus tote bags have been made under the FEEL program by kids from across India. It sounds like a very easy and doable thing. All of us can do it. Let's go into a deep dive of what the principles of environmental stewardship have been practiced. Under the T-shirt to tote program, what we essentially looked at is that how can students who have outgrown their sizes, because every child, you know, that as they are growing till the age of 18 is going to not fit into the clothes that they already wear in every 3 years. So those clothes keep getting wasted. So we use that as a technique, and we started this movement where we asked kids to participate with their parents, with their communities, and convert them into tote bags. Now, why these tote bags and who are the consumers? So what we saw is the rural India has started falling victim to plastic bags and polythene bags and cheaper alternatives. So we wanted to give them a very reliable source of infrastructure in terms of bags. So that tote bags, which are made by the urban youth, was then distributed to the rural youth, thereby making it a urban initiative that was enacted by Faith. Now, under this program, we saw huge participation and numbers. There were so many people that came up to us, and yeah, thanks Thanks, Chen. So under this, we saw a lot of participation from parents, from neighbors, from a lot of people who had clothing, but never knew that their clothing can become a school bag to a rural child somewhere. So yeah, this is where I was going on. Keep going next, Chen. So, so these were the tote bags, such beautiful tote bags that were made. Next, next. So we were trying to integrate the entire supply chain and end textile waste once and for all. And by this, what we have actually done is taught the children of how to actually reuse waste, how what they are consuming can actually be helpful for somebody else. So the reduce, reuse, recycle, all three aspects were integrated into this. And we took those same children next year to distribute it to the rural children. So when they saw it being utilized in person by the rural youth, next slide, that's when they realized the kind of impact and change that they've made. So here we have a small tutorial video, which I'll share on the chat later. Next, so some of them also took the creative liberty to doodle on them, to write messages for the beneficiary on them, thereby customizing the entire t-shirt, which really helped in making a connect with the beneficiary, the end user. Next. So just like this, we have another initiative that we started based on this, which is called a Power of One initiative at the larger scale. So this is where the kids participated, but we had a bigger initiative where we collected next. We collected like more than 8 lakh articles. So these are the kids that have received the t-shirts, and the urban youth are actually distributing what they have built out of the t-shirt to tote program. So they've not only given these t-shirts, they've also taught the children of the rural areas how they can upcycle their own t-shirts, thereby continuing a legacy of change. Next. So this is called the Power of One initiative, where 8 lakh items, which is close to 0.8 million items, were collected in terms of clothing, footwear, utensils, electronics, toys. So what we did is, in whatever condition we got it, we upgraded the condition of those products. So if we've gotten old used clothes, we've actually iron pressed them, and we've made sure that our entire organization packages it and gifts it to the needy people in the best way possible, just how we get it from retail stores. So this was what this small initiative that the kids started, it grew in, and the elders of the community, they started their own initiative called Power of One, a movement that gives a chance to declutter our homes while opening our hearts. So this brings us back to the essential question: do we actually always need so much, or is it our greed that ends up making us irresponsible consumers? And this starts at a very nascent step of us being teenagers and children. If we are not reprimanded or not told that when you are sipping 2 or 10 different caffeines or bottles of tea that you're having, there are so many others who are of your age who are not even getting access to basic food and clothing, then we wouldn't realize that our need has actually gone into the greed zone. So this was a very good awareness drive, even for us, the volunteers who were organizing it, because at every step when the kid was asking us questions, we realized, have we actually upcycled our own t-shirts? Are we only propagating and talking about things to teach children, or are we really implementing it in our lives? And then we fashionably used those tote bags ourselves, so that it gave the kid the confidence that what he has made, although it looks a little shoddy and shabby, we can stitch it and tailor make it, but it is definitely customized. It has abundance of compassion filled with it, and a lot of love when it is going into the beneficiary hands. So this was our little initiative. We are very proud to say that more than 9,000 people have participated in Power of One initiative across the globe. Next slide. Yeah. So these were distributed in rural villages, urban slums, orphanages, old age homes, more specifically disaster affected areas. So whatever we collect through the Power of One initiative, it even, like, I remember it went to the Nepal earthquake victims at one point. It even went to the beneficiaries of the Turkey earthquake. So whatever is going on a global context at the time, the articles we've collected under Power of One actually help So we don't have to start a drive for it. So we do this in the Compassion Week, or it's probably in September, October. This year, whenever it happens, I'm sure I'll share it on this community so that everybody can participate and we can all help distribute it in our local communities. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present. I'm very sorry for the IT troubles. And I'm very, very thankful to Iyad, Azmaira, and everybody who's bringing this entire newsletter and this beautiful initiative, because sustainable lifestyles is something we all look forward to read. And I promise that at least 3,000 people from my community will be reading this every time it gets published. Thank you.
Thank you. Many thanks, Halak, for that engaging example of creative and sustainable action. Finally, let us welcome Ines Billiard from Global One UK, who will speak about the Green Hajj and Umrah initiative. Ines, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm also going to share my screen. Hopefully that works. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it is working.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much to the presenters for all of their really inspiring activities. I'm really honored to be speaking to you here today. So I'm going to be presenting our Green Guide for Hajj and Umrah that we developed initially 10 years ago, but most recently we had a launch at the Houses of Parliament in the UK. Because we've newly developed the guide in a few languages, English, Arabic, French, Turkish, Indonesian, Dutch. So I'll share the link to those different versions in the chat, but I'll just speak to you a bit about the guide now. So the Green Guide is a resource we developed to inspire and equip Muslim pilgrims to honor the earth as they honor their spiritual obligations. The first version was developed in 2010 in Italy as part of the Green Pilgrimage Network. And it was an initiative of the Alliance of Religions and Conservation, whose patron was Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. And then in 2021, we worked with Ummah for Earth and Greenpeace to develop a newer version under the umbrella of Ummah for Earth. And we also developed a mobile app that reflects the guide. So what's inside the guide and why does the Green Hajj matter? So the guide is a call to live faith in action. It offers spiritual grounding, reminders from the Quran with verses and hadiths, practical steps on reducing waste, water use and emissions, and also guidance on inclusivity, supporting disabled pilgrims, women and youth. I've shared the table of contents. So as you can see, we have a checklist where we advise people, to bring reusable bottles, to bring their sandals, to just make sure that once they are doing the pilgrimage, they can reduce their waste. And then also physical steps, how to make informed decisions, and also providing recommendations for after the pilgrimage, so that we are conscious also once we get back from the pilgrimage. And we also included recommendations for governments and institutions. So Hajj and Umrah are spiritual journeys, but they are also logistical mega projects. Each year, millions of pilgrims consume vast resources. In 2024 alone, Hajj generated over 1 million tons of waste. So this guide aims to address the critical need for environmental stewardship embedded in Islamic principles such as Khalifa, stewardship, and Amana, trust. So what's inside the guide? So as I mentioned, we have a checklist for departing, before you depart your country and on an arrival. We recommend bringing cutlery, cloth bags to use during the pilgrimage, as well as potentially checking the accommodation and travel agent sustainability credentials. This is something that's becoming more popular, and if possible, we do recommend to have a look at these. Trying to ensure that we buy and eat only what we need and avoid prepackaged food and drinks where possible. And also minimize water usage for washing and personal use, and also avoiding plastic bottles. So who is this guide for? So we've suggested that it's for pilgrims, planners, and policymakers. While it serves individual pilgrims, it's also helpful for Hajj and Umrah organizers, religious institutions, environmental and faith-based NGOs, and finally, policymakers working on sustainable travel and religious tourism. So our goal really now is to disseminate this guide across different continents, different institutions, try and make sure we work with religious institutions, travel organizers, so that when they provide a package to go on pilgrimage, they can also share this resource and also just inform people about their responsibility as a steward of the planet, because that definitely gets missed out, unfortunately. So it provides recommendations and steps that can be taken after the pilgrimage. So I'll be sharing the link in this chat, but I think it's also a resource that can be helpful for other faiths. It talks a lot about the environment and solutions. So this is also a resource that hopefully can be disseminated in the interfaith space as well. Okay, and so my final slide is about faith and climate as a shared responsibility. We believe that faith can be a driver of climate action. In an age of ecological crisis, faith-based tools like this guide offer something unique, values-driven, community-anchored behavioral change, and it is one small step towards a greener ummah and a livable planet. And this photo is actually an image of Cambridge Eco Mosque, which is a sustainable mosque in Cambridge. If anyone's ever in the UK, I really recommend you go see it. You hear about what makes it sustainable. You hear about the efforts they're putting in. And it's a great leadership initiative from this mosque. So thank you so much for listening to me. I'll share the presentation and also the link to the guide in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ines, for that thoughtful presentation on how spiritual journeys like Hajj and Umrah can align with the sustainability principles. And now, since there's still some time left, and we can go to our Q&A session. And in the Q&A part, we now have a question for Bishop Emeritus Atla Sommerfeld from our participant. And I think we can invite the person who raised it to unmute himself and ask the question directly. So Richard Thomas Jordan, please go ahead. Hello, Richard. If you have questions to ask one of our speakers, you can just ask for yourself right now. Cannot unmute.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Bishop?
Okay, yes.
I hear
thank
you.
you.
I hear you.
Thank you, Richard Jordan, former trustee of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City and a recent visitor to Oslo. Bishop, did the Lutheran World Federation Council that recently concluded in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, discuss this very fine initiative? Thank you very much.
I don't think they did, put it that way. I think that is part of the challenge we have when the diocese have an initiative, or put it a little more in universal language, when a local initiative is recognized nationally, but the process to bringing impulses from a local initiative to the global scene is a challenge. So we are working on it, and hopefully the cooperation with the Church of Sweden in our neighboring diocese will help us to lift it up to the global scene, both in the Lutheran and the World Council of Churches, and also in in interfaith arenas like European Council of Religious Leaders and Religions for Peace, in which also the Bishop of Borg is the president of the European Council for Religious Leaders.
Thank you, Bishop.
Okay, thank you. And we see there's one of our participants raised his hand. So Divine need talk this need to your cam if you want to.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Yeah, I mean, I'm so impressed seeing how the faith-based institutions are fully engaged in the implementation of the 2030 agenda. It is very, very insightful. Yeah, I just want to see how, with my network, we can meaningfully contribute to this framework. And I've just sent an email to all of you. And then secondly, I'm equally part of the NGO faith-based institution here in New York. It's a coalition of all faith-based organizations. And I'm trying to see how we can connect the gaps, because we can do without one another. SDG 17 talks of the global partnership for the goals. So I think it's very important for us to join efforts meaningfully to establish this framework across all member states. I think it's very, very important. Thank you very much. I just wanted to echo to say thank you very much for setting this up, and it's congratulations for the great work you're all doing. Over.
Thank you. Oh, I saw Bishop, you raised your hand. Do you want to talk something? Yeah. So, okay, I think sorry.
Yes.
Mhm.
I was going to ask Laudato Si movement how they are cooperating with Caritas, because Caritas is one of the owners of Hope Cathedral.
Thanks so much, Bishop. We are very strong partners with Caritas, particularly in the international level. So we work very closely with Caritas Internationalis. This year specifically, we are working under the same banner of the intersection of celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Laudato Si, as well as the Jubilee Year campaign. The banner is called Raising Hope, #Raising Hope Earth, and we are encouraging the discussions on addressing ecological debt, as well as taking small actions through the various initiatives of both Caritas, LSM, the UISG, as well as the Dicastery for Promotion of Integral Human Development. And through this Raising Hope website, we are advocating for a just transition. We're advocating also for regreening initiatives and encouraging various Catholics to come together to share what they are doing to raise hope, given this momentous occasion and the significance of this year. I will be sharing more information also and the link to the website in the chat, but just for the recording purposes, it is called raisinghope.earth. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I think we have come to the end of our session, or is there anybody want to say more about it? Okay, no more? Okay, sure. Well, a sincere thank you to, oh, sorry, there's someone raised his hand. So Richard, please go ahead.
Yes, sorry to take the floor again, but to Ashley, how is the Laudato Si movement also using Fratelli Tutti, which is the other encyclical of Pope Francis on social issues and relationships? So is there anything that you are doing to link those two encyclicals? Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Yes, thanks, Richard. We do reflect and weave in principles of various encyclicals and teachings into our programs, specifically on our values. Many of these teachings are rooted on the Catholic social teaching. This is the See Judge Act approach, as well as the values and the principles of Catholic social teaching, preferential option for the poor, solidarity. And so we do weave this into our programs, and also by virtue of being a member of Laudato Si movement, we have a list of shared values, and these shared values are also echoed in the principles of, for example, Fratelli Tutti, Laudate Deum, and this is what, for example, can drive the engagement of the animators to promote this. And also, when we are delivering our programs, we do not just rely on Laudato Si on its own. We do expand that and bring in various theological reflections and interventions. And therefore, also in a practical way, during the training program, we do connect the animators with their mentors, and the mentors also are able to instill and promote these values as the new member of the movement is being formed, to make sure that they are able to have this type of charism of brotherhood, of loving peace, of always being rooted in a mission, as well as to continue also to engage and drive the same values within the community.
Very well spoken, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. And we think the time is up. And a sincere thank you to all our speakers for sharing such powerful examples from different faith communities. Each story shows how traditions, when reimagined with care for our common home, can become forces for ecological transformation. And thank you again for your attention and participation. We hope you leave this session feeling both informed and inspired. Have a great day ahead. And right now, I'll finish our meeting. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.